Brandt, start us out.
All right, on this episode of the RSL Random Fan Podcast, see how many times I get sandbagged to say something on this episode. We talk about Real Salt Lake and turning a great victory into a good 3-point performance. They could have done a much better job, but in the end, we will take it. Lots to talk about. Some great play by some players that we haven't seen been playing great. What do you think, Brennan?
I think there's going to be some great analysis by the best eyebrows in the business, Tyler Thomas. He breaks things down better than that hairline. So stay tuned for this. You're going to love it.
All this and more on the RSL Random Fan Podcast.
All right, I'm your host, Brandt Goebel, joined by Brennan and Tyler. We are not together. We stay together, but not today. We're really close, super close, but so far apart. Anyway, St. Louis, here's the starting lineup. Cabral in the goal, Caliscan, Glad, Junqua, Catranis along the back line, Nelson Palacio, Pablo Ruiz in the middle, those two pivots, Russell, Gozo, Gonzalez with Willie Agata up top, and on the bench, Stadahari, Hidalgo. Ojeda made it back, which is great. He got his visa stuff obviously worked out. Quinton, Vera, Brook, Markchuk, Barea, and Piol. So that was a starting lineup for your Real Salt Lake against St. Louis SC Sporting Club Athletics, whatever they are. So, thoughts on the starting lineup? Was that the third game in a row with the same lineup?
Yeah, we're seeing a trend here. We're seeing a trend. Johnny Russell is going to be starting because that guy apparently knows how to score. And it sucks. It doesn't suck, but the double pivots are starting to work, which is great, which is what we want. We want those Palacio and Ruiz to be higher quality, and we're starting to see that, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, I think Ruiz on the corner kicks is a lot more effective, which helps a lot in the attack to be able to get a few more balls a little closer. But we still haven't scored on a corner, whatever. I mean, you don't really count that, right? Like on a header from a corner? I don't know. Does that count?
Do we have a set piece coach? Do we?
We must.
No, we should get one.
Yeah.
We'll see if the Millers want to
Or maybe
splurge.
listen to him more. Let's listen to him a little bit more, huh? Let's open up the book.
Well, it sounds like they have one. St. Louis City, right? It looks like they have a set piece coach because they're deadly on set pieces, and we are not. We are crummy or poor or less than stellar. Because we pretty much dominated this freaking game, and it came down to nail biter at the end. And I was like, what are we doing? It was nuts. I just thought it was crazy how well we played, how much we dominated, and it still came down to a nail biter. Knock it off. Finish the game better.
Yeah, I thought it was a big opportunity missed. They could have, we'll get to it, obviously. We'll talk about the whole game. But since we're talking in generalities about the whole game, jumping to the end, they had an opportunity to really lock this thing down and have a nice, quality, solid victory, and they just kept giving it away. And in the end, it came down to kind of a nail-biter. But as Pablo pointed out in the postgame, they pulled it off. And maybe 6 weeks ago, as he said, this game ends in a draw because they do give up a late goal. Or even worse, maybe they give up 2 goals. Who knows? But initially, RSL, as they have been doing of late, started out really well. Diogo, in the second minute, he had that lovely touch where I think he chested it down and then flipped it over the defender and found Johnny Russell on the outside. But his shot was blocked. So it was a good start for Real Salt Lake. They almost got into a fight in the 5th minute, so that's always good. I don't know if you see that. Catranis went nose to nose with one of the St. Louis players over in the corner because I don't know, he was disrespected of some sort.
Maybe
physical, his family said something about his family. Who knows what was said, but they were nose to nose. And right from the start, it was not chippy, but it was a nice physical game.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
You love
tactic.
to see Catranis just get face to face with him. Go ahead.
Right, getting after it, getting in their face. No, I like that, but I don't think there's a lot of guys on our team that even play that way. Right? Like, who on the starting lineup might be that way? Maybe Cabral could be. Junka's not that way. Glad's not that way. Caliscan's not that way. Catranis, maybe Palacio.
Vera. Catranis and Vera. They are the 2 enforcers back there.
And Ruiz, yeah. Give us some Pablo Ruiz, right? He gets fiery, gets after it. Yet to see Gozo. We'll see.
Gozo,
Gotta.
Gozo has some bite to him, and Agata, I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see.
He's
I
already
keep
got a
waiting
red
for
card,
Agata
so he's
to
got to have
break it.
some bite.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, could be.
So for the first,
So want to break that down?
as far as what?
Yeah, the start of the game, right? Started
Okay,
off
yeah,
strong.
that's where I was
Got
going.
their feet,
That's where I was
and then
going. The first 20
what are you
minutes
doing after
was
that?
the first 20 minutes was pretty much RSL. They put the pressure on, and Gozo had a lot of constant pressure on the keeper, but St. Louis didn't panic, and they started to possess the ball. And about the 20th minute, they had some really good buildup, and they ended up with corner kick. They ended up with a bunch of corner kicks. I thought it was a little disconcerting that RSL was giving up so many corner kicks because St. Louis, as you pointed out, they are deadly on set pieces, especially corner kicks.
Wasn't Klaus supposed to be like leading in headers in the league right now? Isn't that the right stat I'm
That
thinking
guy
of?
he is really good, even though St. Louis is not having any kind of season they were certainly expecting to have. I mean, they had 10 corners, and and especially when we get into the second half, it got kind of ridiculous. It was almost like the U.S.-Mexico game where it just kept the pressure on and just kept putting RSL on the back foot.
Well, let's talk about that first goal, Tyler. Can you break it down? What happened? Why?
Yeah, good stuff from Real, right? Really bringing it. And when we started the play, we had quite a few different little things going on. First of all, just side note, real quick side note, right? When you watch a lot of YouTube and MLS does the exact same commercial 400,000 times in a row, can we get a break from the dumb girl buying Cokes? Come on, at least switch the song up or something. You're killing me with the freaking repeat. Anyway, okay, rant over about Coca-Cola commercials. All right, back to we win a corner. And who was on it? Pablo Ruiz getting in on the corner, the lefty corner. So he's taking it from the side extended. So it's an in-swinger. No, outswinger. Sorry. It's coming away from the keeper. So Berkey's a really good keeper, and he made some really good saves in this game. Still gave up 3 goals. That's how good we were on the night offensively. So swings it in Ruiz, and he puts it just between the spot and the 6, which is a great place to put the ball. Put it in a position where we should probably go and get it. And we have 5 guys run past it. Everybody runs past it. So I don't know if it was okay, this is near post run, and he put it mid to back post, whatever. Their defender comes out, doesn't know we can't score on headers, and heads it away. Not great, a little sloppily, to be honest. And kind of takes a bounce and kind of hits Caliscan in the chest, but he's ready for it. So he kind of knocks it down with his chest. And kids, if you're out there and you're learning to play soccer, here's what you do. When the ball comes to you, you take a touch and you have a shot. There's nobody behind you. Everything's in front of you. It might not go great. It might hit another player. It could deflect. There's a lot of possibilities. You take the touch and you have a shot. Okay? So that's what Caliscan does. And he hits that thing just so sweetly, just right as it's coming up off the turf, which is the perfect time to hit it, kids. So wait for it to bounce and then hit it. You'll get all that momentum of the ball coming up off the grass, and then it'll come through. If you're not getting the power you desire, whip the body, and that's what Caliscan does. Great form, hits it true, but he doesn't lean back. Okay, a lot of times kids, especially, lean back to get power. Bad form. You'll sky it, and we had a couple people sky it in these games. In this game here, you can go back and watch. It's not pretty, but Noel does not do that. Hits it true and clean. It just skims the top of the heads of a couple players and nestles ever so lovely in that back corner. I was flummoxed, honestly, from that strike. I was so impressed by Noel. I was like, kid, I need to give you a hug.
It was a lovely, lovely goal, and it was his very first Major League Soccer goal. And I'm sure everyone was as surprised as you that it went. I know everybody in the press box was like, whoa, where'd that come from? So it was very exciting. RSL got the quick goal, 6th minute, to go up 1-0, and looked like, well, it was a great start, and looked like things could really, really, really go RSL's way.
What'd you see on that one, Brett?
Okay.
Brennan, what'd you see on that one?
What did I see on the goal? What I saw was I saw kind of a lucky bounce. I loved how Kaliskan, he contained the ball and just one-timed it. Don't ask him to do that twice. I mean, that's one of those where he got it sweet and he got it right, and it was top bins, and there is no room for error. So, I mean, if we can see that kind of quality from him again, I mean, that's a whole different level of a soccer player. So, I mean, I kind of feel like that's a one and done kind of a deal. But really, kudos to that guy because he's been a heavy work rate for the team. So it's nice to see him kind of be on the ESPN side, you know?
The dun-a-net. Yeah, man. And the way everybody celebrated with him, it was almost like everybody was super stoked for him. He must be a really good teammate, judging by the reaction from everybody, right? Even Ruiz was super stoked, and he was way off the side. Everybody though came in and was celebrating with him. That was cool.
You have to though. That's a sweet goal. Like if you make that goal and your teammates just give you like a high five, you probably suck in the locker room. You know what I mean? Like you're not buddy with them. But yeah, wonderful start. I mean, you kind of hope for that, and then you got to build off of that. And I feel like Real after that kind of honestly did build off of that. I saw St. Louis, with a couple counter punches, which they're good at. They're really good at that counter punch. I mean, they passed that ball a couple channels wide and just moved the ball really well. But I mean, is it weird to say that Diogo actually his flair was actually a good thing in this game? Did you guys notice that?
Yeah. He used it for good instead of for the dark side this game. Yeah,
I mean, he was getting farther and farther away from the Menendez line. Like he's now getting a little bit lower, and now he's like,
starting
"Whoa,
to uptrend, bro! He's uptrending."
DP worthy? What? You're getting close to there, big dog."
He's closer to DP. One of the things I noticed, though, he had some of the sickest passes that I've seen all season. He had some line-breaking pass. He was trying to get across the right side, and he was finding people, whether or not they could control the ball or not. But he was engaged, finally, it seemed like, in this game. And it might be the best game he's played since he's been here. I can't think of...
Complete.
Honestly,
yeah.
If you have a string of good games, like 3 or 4 games where all of a sudden you're on, everyone forgets about the last 15. Like they could care less. You know what I mean? You give us 5 goals on a stretch, people are going to buy your jersey. So I think if he can build off of this and find the right things with it, he's going to be going in the right direction. I will have to say though, some of his passes, he's a little too creative, a little too finishy. If he kind of holds his finish, if he holds that pass, like where you're just a little bit more deliberate, less flary, if he kind of goes in that direction with all of his passes, in this game, there was that one where he tried to flick it to Gozo one time. If he just kind of was a little bit more firm with it, Gozo's off. Gozo's gone, and we're celebrating 4-1.
Yeah, I think he gets a little too fancy sometimes. And maybe he's trying to play fast, but MLS is this weird kind of in-between where we're not crazy technical, but if you're overly technical, it's almost like that doesn't work, but it's not non-technical either, right? It's like that middle ground, Interesting the way that plays.
That's a good breakdown, yeah.
We kind of talked about this with Matt Crooks last season. Sometimes these players can almost
What a waste of a player, man. Gosh, dude. that was the worst signing in the last 4 years? It's got to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Second
I think
Cabral. That's about it.
Matt, sometimes these players are too good, and they probably have to work to simplify their game.
Yeah,
and then
to some degree,
and your teammates have to raise their game or learn how to play with you. And I don't know that this is the case with Diogo by any stretch of the imagination. I do believe it was a little bit with Matt Crooks. Matt's a lot more engaging, and I think Matt might be the reason. He's probably the reason Andres Gomez had such a great
Ooh,
at least
bold statement right there.
section through of the season, right? When Matt and Andres started to hook up and he was finding him, it really kind of opened up Andres. I think Diogo could be that player. I don't know if he wants to be or if he really cares, but at least in this game, he was playing well. So we'll see if it translates. Well, actually, the last 2 games, he has been much more engaged, and we'll see if what happens when Diego comes back, and perhaps those two can get on in a groove with Gozo and whoever is out there and really make a difference. But yeah, I really liked how he played. But you're right. I think he gets a little bit too flashy. He tries to be too clever. And a lot of the times when he's being too clever, I mean, the only people, there's just not enough players in the whole world that are going to try and get where he's going with some of those passes. But yeah, so we scored the first goal and then we kept the pressure up. There was it was about the 20th minute, like I was saying, St. Louis started to play themselves into the game, and the field kind of tipped in their favor for a little bit. And the first real standout save happened in the 21st minute from Cabral. I thought it was going in from my angle. They worked the ball over to the right, to RSL's left side, and somehow the player from St. Louis was wide open in the box, got it to the end line, sends a cross back, and the shot goes through traffic, and Cabral has to drop down to his right and knocks the ball up and out of the box. And from where I was sitting, I thought the thing was going in. I don't know how he got it, but that was he had two saves. We can talk about the other one later. That really kept RSL in the lead and kept St. Louis off the scoreboard.
And then St. Louis does that thing where they love the big long throws. So it kind of makes us have to figure out how to win the ball from them and not just play Brody defense and poke it away, right? He's not here anymore. We can name it after him, right? Brody defense is when you just poke the ball away and hope the next throw in or corner isn't as good as the last one. So for me, like, we started doing that a little bit more than I like to see. And it gave up those big throws, and that's how they got almost all their chances. And in the first half, like, they had one in the 22nd minute right after that play, Brent, where they threw it, they come down, they throw it in, guy can throw it a football over that mountain kind of a thing, and I know I only get one Napoleon Dynamite reference per podcast. I know, I heard it. Anyway, he throws it into the box, and Klaus shoves Agata. That's the other thing that drives me absolutely crazy. There are so many fouls on these set pieces that it's kind of ridiculous. The ref doesn't call anything. And we've had Alan Chapman on this podcast before. If you haven't heard that one, it's long and it's not super amazing because he can't get into too much, but he speaks in generalities a lot, and he's a good dude. And my cousin knows him. But back to the push, Klaus comes in and kind of gives Agata a shove right as he goes to jump, and then Agata hits it, and it ends up being just a cross, and it goes right across, and they have a guy back post who just kind of deflects it, and as he deflects it, one of our guys just shoves him over. There's so many fouls on these set pieces, man. Maybe that's the thing. You can't call them all, and there's 10 of them to choose from. I don't know, but it's kind of driving me crazy the way they're. I don't know. It's nuts. It's a bit much for me.
Yeah, it was really active, right? Because that's what the play you're talking about was right after the save from Cabral, and then immediately after that, RSL goes down into our box, and they get 3 point blank shots in a row. This is the 23rd minute. And if one of those would have gone in, I think it might have been a different story because it was crazy. Berkey made some good saves and there was some deflections in there, but RSL had 3 point blank opportunities to get that an early second goal.
You have to give it to Gozo, man. Gozo is just turning into this huge, huge star. Diego's doing great for the U.S. team, but man, Gozo, I really hope we don't sell him. I hope it's not what's his name? What was the other guy we sold that's now on a team and he doesn't start? And he was a Mexican international.
Andres Gomez.
Not Gomez.
Barajas.
Barajas.
Yeah.
See, I I think Gozo is somebody that we could honestly have for 4 years. Like if we keep him for 4 years, he's going to do a lot of international play and he's going to be our star player and we don't have to pay for it. I mean, for the most
And he's
part.
from Utah.
And he's from Utah. Yeah, like that's like a ultimate homegrown story. Like Glad and Gozo. It's like the greatest thing ever.
Sliced
I know
bread.
how much you
I mean,
love Glad, Dad.
some good old sliced bread too. We'll throw that in.
Yep.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. We'll be nice to Glad for a minute.
He did great this game. He did awesome. He stopped
I
so
don't
many
know.
attacks. He was moving in between. I mean, he had to change up his position multiple times on these counter attacks, and you got to give it to him. I mean, we're always struggling on set pieces because we're not good with aerial battles, which is just crazy to me. Like, push him. Like, you get next to him, just push him. You see it all the time. Like, when you see Caliscan, like, dude, we know you're not tall, bro. Just go over there, push him before he's about to jump, and then you're set. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So easy.
it's
So easy
so
when you
weird.
think about it.
It's so
Yeah.
weird, man. It's a strange thing. It really is. Set pieces today are killing RSL, killing us. Good for other people.
Yep. So it went back and forth for a lot of the first half. You brought up Gozo, and I think this was the first game where I thought Gozo needs to pull it back just a little.
No,
he had plenty
false.
of
Get out.
and I'll tell you why. He had plenty of opportunities where, especially with Johnny Russell, where he'd get down on the right side, down in the corner, and instead of just passing back to an open player like Johnny Russell, he tried to go one-on-one multiple times and ended up losing the ball or stopping the attack when sometimes you just need to keep the ball and allow things to kind of develop organically as opposed to try and create one-on-ones. There was multiple times in this game where, you should be able to, take people on one-on-one, but oftentimes the better approach, the more mature approach, the more seasoned approach is to, if it's not there, don't force it. And he looked like he was, maybe that's the best way to describe it. He looked like he was forcing things instead of waiting for things to develop.
What's
I
your
fully
insight on that,
disagree.
brother?
I fully disagree. So if you want to go back to a guy named Andres Gomez, he probably had a 9-to-1 ratio of going like opportunities. So he had 9 opportunities. One of them worked out. The other 8 were him just being a ball hog, and everybody thought he was the best freaking player to ever walk for RSL. And then you have Gozo, who's trying things. He's creative on the ball. He's defensive off the ball. There was a touch when he was on our back line. He like lobbed it over a dude and then ran down the line and then dished it out and then he missed the pass or whatever. Like, yes, he should have passed it to Johnny Russell, but in the same reality, in the same game, there was so many passes that were the dumbest option. Like, why didn't Diogo send it to Agata through the center and then instead of sending it to Johnny Russell? And Johnny Russell didn't do anything with the ball, during that transition play. Like, Gozo is honestly not working too hard. He's setting the pace and the upper third play with his movement. He's setting it up. He's creating the tempo. And Agata is showing that he doesn't have what it takes at the moment to play at that level. He is so timid. Like he's so not there yet. I don't know what he needs. I mean, that's a really tough question to bring up. Not a good positive one to talk about. But
and I think that brings up a good point too, because Agata seems a step behind. He seems like a step slow almost at this point. And it's like, oh, bro, we need pick one. Like, be either a good passer and a good hold up baller and do that really good, or try to be the guy in behind. Right now, you can't do both because you're not doing either. You know what I mean? Like, man, I really hope he figures it out. Really do. And apparently we like him more than Pule, because Pule played like 2 minutes in this game, even though Agata was, he did good. Yeah, mostly a time wasting sub. And I think that's what Pule is. He's doing everything in practice. He's just not getting great results. But it kind of brought up the the goal. Are we okay to go to the second goal now?
Yeah, let's do that. But before we do that, and I'm still right about Gozo, but before we do that about
No way, man. Goes with the Energizer Bunny. He never quit.
right before the goal, there was a beautiful touch by Diogo. I don't know if you saw this. The ball, Tinkatranis chipped it over to the middle and the front of the box, and Diogo just kind of reaches out with his right foot, drops it down in front of, I don't know if intentionally, but it ends up, he takes the ball out of the air, it falls to Johnny Russell, who just tees one off, but it went right to the hands of Berkey. That was in
So that's what I'm saying.
before.
Like, it's a waste. It's honestly a waste. Like, why are we passing it to Johnny Russell if he's just going to shoot it square at the goalie? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Oh,
Like,
dude, are you talking about the
he's
one
not that
Ruiz
good.
put in? The one Ruiz sent to him? Where it crossed the field and 2 guys were offside? That one?
No, this was right at the top of the box. This is a 42nd minute.
Oh, okay. I was talking 22nd minute. That was the one we were talking about, the flurry where Johnny Russell got in behind, missed, and then that was the one time in that game that Gozo didn't hustle. He jogged back slowly, and then he got back on side, and then he didn't run back forward. I was like, where did Gozo go on that play? I went back and watched, and I was like, he didn't hustle on that particular play. It's the only time I saw it the whole game.
And going back to that, Andres Gomez, when RSL was scoring goals last season, it was when they were playing unselfishly and letting things develop, as opposed to just constantly trying to go one-on-one. I'm just saying this. I don't have a problem with it going one-on-one. I just think you can't do it every single time. If you do it every single time, they're going to know how to defend you. They're going to figure it out, and your teammates are going to stop trusting you. So it's not a huge deal, but I just thought it was the first time where, he just tried to do too much instead of just playing within himself, which is what veterans do.
I just needs to go watch a few more clips of Thierry Henry, and then he'll figure it out. He'll be a little bit more like that, and he'll be amazing, because Henry got a lot of passes that ended up as tap-ins for his teammates, and his teammates love to make runs where all they have to do is tap it in at the end. So I think Gozo develops into that a little bit more, and he's got the size and the speed and the gusto and the stick-to-itiveness. He's got all the intangibles that, you need. So I'm loving this. Anyway.
All right, so let's get to, since we've decided that Tyler is our best
he's our breakdown guy.
He's our goal describer.
That way we can go in order of things. So if we just say, "Hey Tyler, tell us about this," it's in order, so he doesn't skip to the next one. So he's always got the hot takes.
Right. That's a good point. Now, interestingly enough, we had a few shots from the outside that I think mixed it up just enough so that our other guys had a chance to do some stuff. And then we're getting some hold-up play. Finally, Agata drops, and he's kind of in that pocket between the center backs and their pivot. And for some reason, there was nobody really close to him. And who was it that found him? Somebody found him. Who was it?
Agata?
Yeah, Agata was in the middle. Oh, Glad. Yeah. Glad intercepted the ball up to the forward.
Glad set up a play? Crazy.
Hockey assist, bro. He got the HE double hockey assist on this one. And sorry, kids, if that spells a bad word, you can't say to your mom and dad. But so he plays it forward, and
this can't say that word. Oh my gosh, dude. There's no kid on this podcast.
All right, so Agata he takes a good turn, and that's one of my favorite things to watch in soccer is when someone does that quick glance over their shoulder and realizes they have space. So ball comes to him, and he just turns and starts running. Love that. It opens the game up, and Nelly started doing it a whole bunch, and Agata did it in this case, took the touch, and Diogo gets wide. He gets just wide enough. He realizes there's only 2 guys back there. And so he gets wide to give Agata that extra source. And their center back kind of tucked in a little bit. And as soon as he kind of tucked in, Agata played it wide. And I think Agata thought that he could take that touch and be in on goal. But, Gonçalves the whole time was setting up his right foot. Because when he got to the ball, he even trapped it with his right foot. And the defender even slowed down to say, "I dare you to go left," basically. But then he came back right, and then he came back right again. And that's what opened the far post. So Pro move. I mean, like consistent. He set up his strength. You play to your strengths in soccer. And Diogo knew he wasn't going to take that left-footed as a shot, so he took it back to the right. The defender was in the way, but he just took that next step. So it was hard for the defender to recognize the angle. It's a really tough angle to capture. So then he just bent it to the far post, and from that range, he was basically the penalty kick extended. So just put it right in that far corner. Pretty simple and straightforward, but a really nice strike, really quality.
What was great was that he elevated the ball. Most of his shots have always been on the ground. It was kind of a pet peeve that like a DP is so like that's his go-to shot is laces through the ball and it just skips on the ground. But this one he elevated and he hit it super nice. I want to see more shots like that from him.
It was nice. I loved how it, there wasn't a ton of bend on it. It just kind of like found the post and dinged right in. So great for him. And then he went over, as quite a few players have done over the last few games, sat down and honored his former teammate and friend Diogo Jota, who passed away tragically a week after getting married. He had 2 kids, and he died with his brother, who was also a soccer player. Also played professionally. So yeah,
and that's really sad. The whole soccer community, the whole world is mourning that guy. He was on Liverpool's team that wasn't expected to win the Premier League and did. He was on Portugal's team who just won the Nations League or whatever that tournament was called in
UEFA.
in Europe, right? So I mean, what a stud! He was killing it. He's undersized but played bigger than he was. Just a solid player. Amazing. I think Diogo played with him at Copenhagen or somewhere else. I can't remember.
I think they were also on a national team, U21 or something.
Okay, both named Diogo, so that's fun.
Yeah,
but yeah, the sit cross-legged and play video games thing. I don't know why that's him. Do you? Anybody
I don't. But also, they did it in the Gold Cup. Raul, when he scored, did the same thing.
Yeah, he played with him too, right?
Yeah, he even had a jersey that he put over himself.
Yeah, maybe he was the one that played with him U21. I don't know, but they all. It was a nice way to honor him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't play with him in U21s, but he's in Mexico, and Diogo Jota was from Portugal. But
okay, that makes sense then.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Gonçalves that was his U21 teammate.
Okay, awesome.
Good. Yeah, and so we're looking good, right? 2-0 at the half. That's what it's looking like.
Yeah, and it was a great half, dominating half. And let's get into halftime. Somebody make some noise. Halftime. And let's get right. Let's just jump right to it.
Okay, let's go.
No, it was wonderful. Let's just jump right to orange slices. Who gets your orange slices? We'll start with Brennan.
I want to give it to a multitude of people. I'm going to give it to one person for an incredibly dumb reason. I'm going to give it to Catranis for getting in that dude's face and laughing. I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved how he was just like, "Oh yeah, really? Yeah, you want to mess with me? Let's go." Blah 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 blah. I absolutely love that. Like I need to see more of that.
If we're just going off first half, I want to say Noel Caliscan, but I have to go with Diogo.
You can't have both goal scorers. You mean, come on?
I can't. That's what I'm saying. If it was just the first half, you want to say Caliscan, but if it's a whole game, you can't say that because he was not great on set pieces. So
the second half, your orange slice goes to Yarrow, right?
Yarrow and his shoulder. It was his shoulder. Shut up, it did not. We all know it was a handball. Anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna go with Diogo. I know, weird, huh? Diogo.
Yeah.
That's a first for me. I've not given him an orange slice before.
That's true. Times are turning. Brandt, besides Cabral, what is your orange slice?
You know what? Since it was such a hard decision for Tyler, I will give my orange slice to Caliscan for getting his first goal. There's some other players as well. I thought Pablo Ruiz and Nelson Palacio, I thought they had a very good game. I like what they bring. They're a little more offensive minded and less defensive, which can be an issue. Palacio still has turnover issues, and there were some turnovers that almost hurt us that didn't. But I'm going to go with Noel. I thought he gets the goal, and he's locked down that right back position, so we don't have to talk about it. And that's what I like. We don't have to constantly talk about the fact there isn't a right back because he took it.
He
took
is
that
the
role.
right back now.
He's
the right
is
back.
the right back. Yeah,
He
so
is not a
that's
center defensive mid. Nope.
so yeah, that's who I get it. So
All right.
what do we want to talk about in halftime? Do we want to talk RSL related? Do we want to bring up the U.S. men's national team? Save that for later.
Yep. U.S. Mexico.
I know we can talk about. Okay, go ahead.
Our B team did really good. Now, people are like, well, why is that our B team? Because honestly, the guys that were in that game, there's probably 3 or 4 of them that will even make the roster for the World Cup. I have Tyler Adams on the team and probably starting if he's at full health. After that, 1 or 2 other guys at most. Malik Tillman, Diego Luna make the roster probably because they're Poach's guys. You know what I mean? And Tillman brings something different that not a lot of people have. He's kind of got that Gozo factor. He's a little further ahead right now than Gozo, but he's kind of got that long-legged, I'm going to get to balls you don't think I can kind of mentality to him. And I love that at the national team level. And so I think he might makes the roster. And I think Matt Freese makes the roster. And other than that, those starting players, maybe Ajiman. Other than that,
Why?
everybody else is a B team. Everybody.
Yeah, why that guy?
What
does he do?
No.
Ajiman? Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason why, and it's the same reason we loved Josie Altidore for so many years, because he was a good hold-up player. He would dig in, he would annoy the center defenders, and he would hold the ball up, and he would play players in behind him. And if you like that style of play, you hunt for a forward like that. So there are no other guys that do that for the U.S. men's national team at center forward right now. And is Ajiman really good at it? No, but he's better than anybody else, right? So if you're forcing us to play that style of play with a hold-up striker, you pick him. But if you just get the best 11 guys on the field, he sits out and he barely makes the team. But because he does that really well, Poach likes him. Pooch, whatever you say, however you say it. Pochettino.
Yeah, call him Pooch. See how long that lasts.
Pooch.
And I did a little research and was looking around and looking at the grades for the players, and I was really surprised that Diego Luna was the lowest rated player in the game for the U.S.
Yeah, he did not find the game well, and when he did, he had a couple of turnovers, and it was almost like his style of play didn't fit the way we were playing that game because we needed somebody to hold the ball up, step on the ball, and give the defenders a second or two of a break. And nobody did it. Malik did it a little bit, but Diego didn't really do it. He did not really set it up, and he didn't hold the ball up well, and he didn't combine well. So I get it, but in the biggest game of his national team career, he didn't do well. It's too bad. It's too bad because he did great. He was the MVP of the last game.
Yeah, I thought that I don't know what the deal was, but Tim Ream had a terrible game. I didn't think he had a great game. And there were multiple times where they kept trying to go over the midfield instead of finding Luna, who was open, and they didn't play through him. And then also, he got forced out there to the left, kind of helping Arfston out there because Arfston would get out of position quite a bit.
That's what I'm saying, right? And because of that, that combination, it made it really rough for Diego to have to come back and press back and do some extra stuff that he didn't have to do against the other competition.
Yeah, I don't think it's not looking at it through rose-colored glasses. He didn't have a great game, but I don't think it was the worst game. I don't think he was the worst player out there. They expect him to do. Oh, he's supposed to play defense and play back, and then he's also supposed to run the midfield. Make up your mind. And so yeah, I thought it was interesting. I thought Arfston. I mean, you can't have Arfston over Luna. None of them were. There were some really poor play, and I don't think that Aguiman or whatever you say. I don't think he had a great game. So, And De La Torre. They had De La Torre ranked higher than him, and he did nothing.
He had a really bad game. He did not show well against Mexico either. But I get it. Like like I said, he's a great MLS player, De La Torre is. He is, but he's not a national team guy. Like he might make the World Cup team, but it's not because he's head and shoulders better than the next guy. It's just like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Do you want a guy like Luna who can come off the bench, provide a spark, beat a guy one-on-one and have a shot? Or do you need somebody to kill the game? And that's De La Torre. He's going to step on the ball and find people in tight spaces and play in tight spaces well. But he didn't play great in tight spaces in this game.
No, there's certainly not a lot of glory to be had from the team. I don't even think it was a goal. If they'd had goal line technology, Chris Richards, that goal comes back because I don't think.
Well, that ball was
across.
that ball was not fully over the line. That one shot that they did on the side, it was like part of the ball was still over the line. I was like, wow, they're giving it to him and they're not going to check.
They showed the bounce and you could see the green in between, right? Did you see that?
Yeah, you could see that, but that doesn't mean it was past the line.
Yeah,
right. But
because the ball
when the ball bounces, it compresses though, right? So that's as close as you can get to actually seeing it. You know what I'm saying? Because the ball doesn't like compress all the way to flat, but there was a good 2-3 inches from the front side when you saw that.
We'll never know, but I think the odds of it being
some goal technology, man. Let's upgrade.
Yeah.
Let's get the 2.0.
But you got to give it to Mexico, man. Like those dudes can shoot. Like
everybody on the team. Everyone on the team can shoot.
Dude, outside the box, inside the box. Was his name like Jimenez or something like that? And then their young kid. I mean, Alvarado had a sweet.
Mora.
Oh, dude, man. I was like, if we could get some shots like that, it'd be so good for U.S.
To be fair, that's their A team, and that's our B team, right? So I think under the circumstances, we did pretty well, but there were times when it was like 10 minutes of just constant, we can't get the ball, and we can't clear the ball either. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh.
Who's our A team legitimately?
So at left back, it's Jedi Robinson, right? He's the guy that plays for Fulham. He led the Premier League last year in assists. I think he led as left back. I think he was the top assist getter this year in the Premier League from left back. Like only left backs is what I'm saying, not like all of the Premier League, right? But for left backs, I think he led the league or was top 2. Like he's a maniac, man. He is so good. And Luna doesn't have to come back and babysit him. You know what I mean? Maybe Chris Richards is our starting center back now that I think about it too. But I don't think Tim Ream is our starting center back for the World Cup next year. Hopefully not. Hopefully somebody else steps up and into that role and fills it well. But Tim Ream has this like old man poise to him. He's really poised. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He might clear the ball randomly like he did a lot in the Mexico game. He was just like clear, he just like put his foot through it just to give us a breather. But he doesn't usually make positional mistakes, except on that first goal. He stepped across with his foot and he didn't step far enough. He short-footed it, thinking he was going to cut back, and he should have long-footed it and blocked the darn shot. It's always the primary responsibility of the first defender is to stop the guy with the ball. He was getting the ball, should have stepped a little harder and firmer up front, would have blocked that shot instead of accidentally necking it in. But
and you got Giannis Musa, Sergino Dest, who else? Timothy Weah,
Dest is
Josh
right
Sargent.
back. Yeah, there's a lot of attacking options.
Yeah,
Sargent's
so Weston McKennie.
Yeah, Weston McKinney's in that midfield, right?
Florian Balogun.
Balogun could be there. It's a toss-up at striker, man. There's Balogun. There's the guy that used to play at Dallas, went to PSV, right? The 3 PSV guys right now. So, I mean, there's a lot of striker depth. But the problem is none of those strikers are back-to-goal strikers. And Ajiman is. And if that's what Pooch wants, then Pooch is going to get him, dude.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought it was a frustrating game. I thought, I don't know if the U.S. they were overloading the box, right? Mexico always had 1 or 2 more players around the ball than RSL, kind of like what St. Louis was doing to Real Salt Lake, getting getting the
Freeman
numbers.
if Freeman steps up on that last play, everyone's in line except the 18-year-old kid playing right back whose dad was a receiver in the NFL, right? Like,
Freeman.
yeah. Yeah. So if he has the poise to just head the ball over the goalie when he's running in on goal and that ball's bouncing and he knows he's going to get contact with the goalie, if he just ducks his head a tiny bit, then that's a goal and the other one's not a goal and we win 2-1, right? Like, so it's a game of inches and that the inches worked against us against Mexico, but it was a close game. I was glad we didn't get blown out, right?
Yeah, it had the possibility of doing that. It almost ended up 3-1. I thought Mexico was going to get that third goal, but the U.S. played well and they were in it. That's the thing; they were in it the whole game, which is all you can ask, especially when you've got players that are on sabbatical. So anyway, ends up 2-1 victory. I thought, I don't want to sound like a homer, but I thought Diogo Luna, I seen him get rated 5.8 out of 10, and it's more like 6 or 6 maybe. When Arston's getting 6.5 and De La Torre's getting 6.5, it's like, what are you watching? And also, you got that turd Ferguson that was there, the idiot with the big old cowboy hat, Alexi Lawless, going on. After the first of all, the whole tournament, he barely acknowledges that Diogo Luna exists, and then Diego forces him to talk about him after Guatemala, and then after this one, Diego, you know what, the bed. I'm just like, you could say that about almost everybody on that team except for Richards, maybe. And so, yeah, so just a little more frustration. And he did look like Turd Ferguson, minus the mustache.
Yeah, and then the cowboy hat, right? And he doesn't. Yeah. Somebody was like, the Lawless with the big bucket hat and no cattle or something like that. I thought it was funny.
No, he's definitely all hat, no cattle.
Yep. So anyway,
all right.
Yeah, we'll move off of that one. We love the U.S. men's national team, but rough night. Not horrible, but not great.
And what about, I thought you would be like all over the officiating.
Man, that's hard to watch. Look, there's a way to officiate a game and let it be physical and still like keep control of it. And there was a play. It was like 2 minutes long where there were guys just kicking each other, pushing each other straight on. One guy grabbed that guy by the shoulders and pulled him back. And the ref called nothing. And I'm like, are your eyes open, bro? There were 4 fouls there. Just call one of them. It doesn't even matter which team you call it for. You got to call it to slow the play down and not let the players go nuts and kill each other, right? Like, they're just going to keep escalating until they figure out where a foul is. And then once they find out where a foul is, okay, now I can destroy him. And if you look at Ajiman got plowed one time and he got a yellow card. 2 plays later, he got plowed by the same guy and the ref was like, knock it off. Could have easily been a second yellow. Easily. He was away on goal, right? Like, yeah. And there was a warning before the yellow. That's what a yellow is. It's a warning, right? Like, yeah, I don't love it because then it turns into a brawl instead of a soccer game. And I like the aspect of going all out and getting after it, but there's the point where it just turns into a rugby match. And we should just go grab our New Zealand and Tongan friends and have them go put them on, and then we'll just win every game because nobody will dare go in on a tackle against these guys, right? Because they don't want to get slide tackled back and broken in half, right? Like, you got to protect the players, and so there's that fine line between protecting them and forcing these multi-million-dollar athletes to get hurt. You got to protect them at some point. So I did
what
not
about
like officiating? No.
What about the handball?
Look, it's not really a handball offense. He's falling, but man, he put his hand right on the ball, bro. He put his hand right on the ball, and like, I get it, but it's not a handball offense under the current rules of the game. So, but if it would have hit his hand anywhere in the build-up, anywhere at all, I would have been like, penalty, give it to us. But no, it's not. It's not a penalty. I don't want that called up for us, so I don't want to call against this, right?
All right, so enough of that. Let's get back to the game. Second half starts, and St. Louis comes out, and somebody yelled at him at halftime because they came out fired up, and they put pressure on Real. So like I was saying, they seem to do a better job getting numbers against the RSL defense, and just kept putting pressure on pressure. They upped their pressure, and they got an early goal, 51st minute. I think we came to a goal. I think it's time. Your turn, Tyler. Describe that goal and how Justin Glad was out of position and didn't cover his man.
Man, how many people are around Justin Glad? Like literally, like there was 3 St. Louis players, and Justin Glad's supposed to just cover all of them. Like, come on,
Yeah.
kid.
Are we zonal marking or are we man marking? I don't think we know. I don't think we
Well,
have a
Pablo
set piece
said we were
coach.
zone marking yesterday, or the last game. He was saying, yeah, we switched to zone marking or whatever.
Yeah, he
But,
mentioned
like,
that in the postgame. Well, we switched to zone marking, so I guess that's
it's
why
like,
they scored on
dude,
us.
it's not working, man. It's not
Dude, there's
working
3
for
guys on the front
so good at
post.
set pieces.
There's 3 guys on the front post. Well, Yaro, Klaus, and the guy with 2 last names, number 3. They're all 3 all on Caliscan. They're all a head taller than Caliscan, and they're all standing right up there. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, and by the way, back post, we'll just put Yaziel Orozco, who you guys, got rid of, and we'll just put him back in there." And I know a lot of other people love Orozco, and he never quite made it here because he was trying to play center back, and he's not really a center back. Anyway, whatever. He's a good left back in a back 3, which is what he was kind of playing here with St. Louis. But, man, they figured it out quick, right? St. Louis is a smart team. They might not be a great team, but they're a pretty smart team. And so where did Klaus stand? He stood right in between Glad and Caliscan, and then he stood up by Caliscan like Caliscan was marking him, and then he just took 2 steps back, and the delivery was perfect. Like, they were getting great delivery, and Ruiz was getting us better delivery on the other end. But, man, that seemed super easy and super simple to defend, and we did not do that.
Well, you know who's really at fault, though, is Johnny Russell, because Johnny Russell's covering near post. And if he's anything but great, he should have been able to see that coming and block it. You know what I mean? Like, that's why he needs to get out of the game sooner than later. Like, stop putting him at starting. He's not good at defending. Was he back post? I thought he was near post. No, I said
Well, he
near
was
post.
near post, but the ball went back post.
Oh, it did? Oh, well, never mind then. I guess he's safe. Whatever. I mean, if it was me, I would have covered the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Zonal marking, man. It kind of went right past Junka,
Oh, Junka. Way to go underneath the spotlight until you had to be right in the middle of the spotlight for the next goal. You know what I'm talking about? Did I just do a Tyler? I think I just did a Tyler.
Well, there were a couple other ones, and we couldn't. I think they got 3 or 4 corners in a row, like right off. And I was like, "What are we doing?" It was weird.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah, they really upped the pressure coming out of halftime, and it was a goal that shouldn't have happened. RSL's got to figure out how to defend.
Agreed.
On these things.
Agreed. We got to do way better on set pieces, both defending and attacking. But we got bailed out right after that.
Yep.
You want to take us through that goal, Brennan?
Well, yeah. So was it Katranis who sends the ball in?
Let's see.
He sends the ball to Agata. Agata comes up the left side. Agata sends the ball across. And Gozo's there, makes a slide, but then Yaro decides to do the best thing for RSL and try to block a ball that's directly in front of goal, and gets it right past the goal. Beautifully done. And one of the things I really hate about this goal, though, is the fact that Gozo is offsides. Like, he is offside, and how is, like, it seems so unfair. Because that Yaro is supposed to make a play if he's onside, right? So, like, if he lets it go, Gozo's offside, scores a goal, it's overturned, right? Like, shouldn't there be a rule where if a defender makes a play on a ball because he thinks a player's onside, but then it goes in, like, that shouldn't be a goal, right? Like,
Remember, it's involved in the play. So as soon as Gozo's involved in the play, as soon as it gets by Yaro, then Gozo's involved in the play.
Well, then who is Agata passing to then? A ghost? He's involved in the play because he's getting passed to.
Right, but
that's what offside is.
Who's back post? Oh,
it was Gozo.
Yeah, it was Gozo.
No, Gozo was running down the middle. It was Markchuk that was back post.
Yeah. So it's like
he was like past the post outside.
But also at that time, Gozo is sliding at the same time Yaro is. So obviously he's making a play at the ball. So Yaro has to be like, hey, yo, I can't let this guy do it. Like, in my opinion, I think that shouldn't be a goal.
Well, and You know what though? Like the sequence that led up to it was some really good passing. Ruiz knocked it over to Junca. Junca way across the field up to Agata. Agata played in Diogo. Like it was
nice
some
one touch.
Yeah, there was some really good one-touch play and two-touch play there to free him up. And so that's why Diogo was so open originally. And then the ball got whipped across. And man, yeah, like you said, if Yaro would have let it go, probably wouldn't have been a goal. Yeah. Interesting, right? The way that played out. But don't worry, we gave one back just for good measure. We let him hit it in with their hand even. So that's nice.
Yeah, and before that, when was it? The other save that we need to talk about from Rafael Cabral. We're up 3-1. And
75th minute.
Yeah, holy cow.
That was a great save, man.
It was another rocket from Klaus, and I don't know how he got a hand on it. I don't know if no other keeper the RSL has is making that save.
Yeah, that's a great save.
Holy cow. Yeah, Rafa Cabral right now is probably the MVP of this team.
But then how did that second one go in, man? Like, how did that not get called back on VAR? I've watched it like 10 times. I can't understand how it goes in off the guy's arm and there's no definitive angle that it actually hit his arm. Or are we serious right now?
That's what they're saying? There was no definitive angle?
Well, because it was called a goal on the field. Chapman couldn't see it. He has no angle. So he's talking to his side ref after, assistant. He couldn't see it either. He was all the way on the sideline. There was no way to see it, right? They're like, hey, like, what happened there? So the first two guys jump. Glad's guarding somebody. They jump. The ball does or does not hit him. Doesn't matter because it falls. Neither one of them makes solid contact, and it just falls right after. Caliscan is standing there hugging Yaro, and Yaro's shoulder is up around Caliscan, and Caliscan's arm is up around Yaro, and it hits somewhere between their shoulder and their elbow, either one of them, and goes in. So I don't know how it's not either one, a penalty kick off of Caliscan and a handball penalty, or it's a handball on Yaro and we go the other way. Like, I think they even knew it because Orozco grabbed the ball and hurried and ran away like, oh, yeah, we got this. And I thought it hit Orozco's arm at first, but it hit Yaro's arm.
It hit Caliscan.
It hit Junquas. No,
it didn't touch Junquas.
Yeah, Junquas.
It hit Caliscan.
Yaro, and it hits them both, it looks like.
Yeah.
But it hits their arms. Right?
And Caliscan in the postgame said it went off my arm and went in. I don't know how they scored it, but that's what he said in the postgame.
Went off my arm?
Yeah, it hit off my arm, went in.
Yeah, like how's that not at least a penalty kick? Or if it hit both their arms, because you can't speak for the other guy. But if it hit both their arms, what do you do in that? Drop ball? Right? Like it hit both their arms in the penalty box. I don't know. Weird.
So at the end,
goal.
So
I think should have called it back, but whatever.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what they thought. So if we call it back, then it's just going to be a penalty kick. But who knows what's Cabral. So,
but we almost gave the whole game away in the 97th minute.
Yeah,
right?
and
going back to
I think
we're bad on set pieces, and the ref likes to let them push us down and head the ball in or hit it in off our arms, whatever. But that's Klaus shoving Vera down and then heading the ball wide with no time left on the clock, basically.
Yeah, and this comes back to what I was saying, where this could have been a game where RSL dominates, builds some confidence, and maybe it did. I'm not there, but for the way it ended, it felt like desperation because St. Louis upped the pressure even more, and RSL had to do some great defending. And then, like you said, at the end, they still find Klaus at the back door, and in another season that goes in. But since it's not St. Louis's season this year, it goes out. So he was wide open back there, and RSL, by the skin of their teeth, ends up getting the 3 points and the 3-2 victory. But it wasn't
F skin.
Yeah, it's very thin. That's why they say that.
Skin when you had like a scar or something.
Well, this is a pattern, though. This is a humongous pattern with RSL. Like any sort of success, we for some reason say it's okay to like allow it not to be a success. Like we're like almost encouraging in some aspects. Like what is it that we need to change? Like what is the piece that's making it so we're like a solidified soccer team?
Well, I think it has to be consistency.
But
And
you can't just say consistency because we're consistently doing something right now. Like, what is the change that's missing? Because it can't be consistency. Consistency is not something that is attainable. I mean, you have to do certain things to get consistency. Like, what is it that we're missing? Sorry, I just turned into a coach.
Oh no, it's a great question.
It's a long day at work. Okay, long day at work.
And I think it's results, right? We'll see what happens against Houston, and then they've got 3 tough games: Portland, Cincinnati, and San Jose. But it consistency builds that confidence. It's kind of like when you build a team, right? Where do you start? You start on the defense. You stop the other team from scoring, so you stay in more games. You figure out how to score, and then it kind of builds on itself. And I think that's where they're at. They've struggled this season, obviously, to find goals. This is only the second time they've scored 3 goals all season in a game. So I think it's just taking the result and building on it. And we'll see what happens. If they go out and lose against Houston, then, they're back to square one. They have to go on a nice little run, 7, 8 games without a loss, something like that. And it just kind of builds on, and the team starts to believe in themselves, which can never sound like Pablo, but it's kind of all it is. And then you have to have, at some point, if it doesn't happen, you just get better players. And that they may be close to that in a lot of areas. They need more better players.
Yeah, the league is definitely growing because what we've been able to have success with, that level is almost non-existent right now with the Western Conference.
Well, and I think we're building, and I like that about us right now. Our leading goal scorer is Diogo Luna, obviously with 8 goals. He's only 21. He's still not 22. He has also 2 assists on the year. Diogo has 2 and 2 now, 2 assists and 2 goals. It's too bad that other goal didn't count as an assist, right? Like, it's too bad he didn't get assist credit for that own goal, because I think you should say there should be a separate line that's own goals forced. Let's track another stat, dude. Come on, let's do it. One more stat. One more. Anyway, so own goals forced, he's at 1. And and then Johnny Russell has 2 goals as well, and he's only played in 6 games. So bringing in that veteran presence, I think it helps to say, look, skill still matters, right? He's 35 and still kicking the ball in the goal. And then Mark Juk, I think, still has a ton of talent, and he's still got to find his way. And Agata still is finding his way. 1 goal, 1 assist. But then, like, the one goalers are now Mark Juk, Agata, Junka, Kaliskan, Pule, and Forster Jago. Haven't said that name for a while.
Yep. So RSL, they are getting closer to the
Fair.
playoffs. They're in 12th place, but they're only 4 points. They're 4 points out of 7th, right? LAFC, Houston, who they're playing on Saturday, they can pull within 1 point of Houston with the 3 points. Colorado is also on 26 points, and Austin in 10th. So 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all sitting on 26 points. And then you follow up with San Jose later this month. They're at 28. So not far away from the playoffs, and whether or not they can build that a consistent run to score some goals and get more 3 points, we shall see. And then the tough one is going to be Cincinnati. Cincinnati is in first place
in the Shield race, right?
42 points, and Portland is in 4th place. So they got Houston, who's in 8th, coming up at 26 points, and then they go to Cincinnati. Then they have Cincinnati, and then who's in first in the East and in the league, and then they come back with so where's it go? Houston, Portland, Cincinnati, and then San Jose. San Jose is in 6th place.
Schedules are complicated. Schedules are hard.
They are. There's so many.
And they're also lined up perfectly. It's very hard to pay attention to.
Yeah, it's hard to get them all straight. Anyway, 4-4-1 at home. We're back to break even at home. Woohoo! I wouldn't think that would be an accomplishment, but here we are, 4-4-1. And on the road, we're still only 2-6-3. So lots of L's on the road. Let's step that up, but obviously let's get our home record up while we got them.
Yep. So anything else we want to talk about when it comes to this game, or let's hear it.
I know Brennan's pissed about something, but I'm pissed that we're still -6 on the goal differential. Freaking
Pissed
still
about anything, man.
-6. Like I want to be -5, giving away handball goals and anyway.
When does the transfer window open up?
I think the 23rd.
The 23rd? Yeah.
23rd or 25th.
I'm excited to see if we do anything spectacular.
I think if we were going to do something, the player would be in. Yeah, so the MLS summer transfer window opens Thursday, July 24th. Had it surrounded and closes on Thursday, August 21st. They could have players in if they're out of contract. They could have them in practicing, kind of like what they did with Borns, the Boa Vista guy. He was actually in Salt Lake practicing, and the deal fell through. So, but I don't know unless we go to practice this week, find out whether or not RSL has some trialists or some players in getting ready to join the club as soon as they can sign them. But I haven't heard any rumors. Maybe that changes in the coming weeks at practice. But I haven't seen a ton of rumors out there.
All right, Brennan, what are you angry about?
What am I angry about?
Yeah, remember we used to do that segment where you were just pissed at something?
Oh, what
Sorry.
grinds my gears?
Yeah, you should bring that back.
Yeah, let me bring that back. I have to think. I've been so positive lately. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's been weird. Like life's been good. It's kind of something's wrong. Something's so wrong. Yeah, I got nothing, man.
Nice and positive.
Oh yeah.
More angry than Brennan?
I'm really angry that Klaus is trying to hang on to his hair. Like at that point, man, like how many headers you've been going through? Like your hair is thinning, brother. Like Hims is not going to help you. Go to Turkey. You know, you get 1.3 million a year. Like when are you going to do it?
No, bro. Just let the Homer Simpson hair puff up, bro. Let it puff up and flow in the wind.
Like you see this, like that's going back. You know what I mean? Like I'm going back like a Hail Mary. Like this guy just openly just thinning on top, and he's got thickness all the way around. Like 1.3 mil.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Right? Yeah.
Grinds my gears.
Let it go, bro. Go with the big style.
You know,
Try to
the
get an
ones that hold on
endorsement
to it,
from those guys.
the ones that
Try
hold
to
on
get
to
a
it
razor
usually have
company
the
to
best
sponsor you.
head. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like you have no hair on the top of your head. You look fantastic. Do you know what I
Hey,
mean?
thanks,
Like,
bro. Appreciate
like it
that,
really
man.
brings out your eyebrows. Like you have
Yeah,
some solid eyebrows. You know what I mean? Like I think do you trim them?
And Harry should sponsor our podcast now because I use their product, right? Like Dollar Shave Club. Huh? Somebody step up here.
Awesome. All right, so no Come On Crawley update. They haven't started the season yet, but we'll definitely dive into all of the interesting machinations and roster buildup and the schedule's out, but we got plenty of time to chat with that. We'll get Gary on again, and I will. I'll talk to Gary, and we'll get ready for the Crawley Town season. But I also want to thank some of the fans. We went and chatted with Gail and Luis and Clay and Braden and who else? So you have to go into our Instagram or TikTok, or I think that's where I got them. Instagram and TikTok, our little interviews talking to RSL fans, you can find out what they think their silver lining is of the season so far. And yeah, it's really fun. We're going to be doing a lot more of that, getting out and talking to fans. If you see us, you want to share your thoughts about Real Salt Lake. You also get stickers.
See something, say something, right?
Yeah, you get stickers too. You get your orange slice sticker. You get your an RSL random fan sticker, and then we got another one that says "Don't be reverent, yell your guts out." So,
hey, did you guys see the Seattle Columbus game?
I heard about him. Stephen Fry got carted off. I didn't want to watch it because it sounded like it might have been pretty bad. He caught a knee to the side of his head and knocked him out pretty much.
Yeah, that's saying something. Yeah. Anyway, it was a pretty like 97th minute. It's 96:50 when they set up the free kick. There was 7 minutes of extra time, and ball comes whipped in. Fry comes for it, goes to punch it, kind of misses it, hits it, whatever. Falls after that because he hit into somebody, falls down, and as he's falling down, dude's following through, doesn't even see him, and he just lands on his like knee, and just you can tell he just like falls back like limp, you know. So it's in the highlights. If you go watch the highlights, it's pretty gnarly. They don't zoom in on it, but
He got Brian Vered, or he got
yeah,
Cabral.
if you want to see it, it's still in there. I think he might have to go through concussion protocol to get back
You
after that
think?
one. It was brutal. He went to the hospital, but then he got released. So all
Well,
healthy now.
they drove the ambulance out onto the field and carted him off. And then they both coaches agreed, and they just stopped the game at that point.
Yeah, it was extra time anyway, so it seemed like the right thing to do. So crazy. A lot of
Well,
other
cool.
cool
Thanks for
games
watching.
with good results and stuff. Fun games across the league. So the Miami game was nuts. If you watched that one, 4-1.
They won like 4-1.
Yeah. Well, Brennan needs to end the podcast. He's fading.
No, it's
He's
okay.
fading fast.
We can
It's
keep
the
going,
Manchester
man.
United jersey.
I've just had to pee since minute 45. That's all. So it's all good. You guys keep
It's the
chit
Man
chatting
United
about
jersey.
things around the
It's
league, man.
fading at the end. Oh, too real.
Well, just-
Too
Bladder's gonna
Just do what
explode.
I do. Just keep a bucket under your desk. I mean, come on.
Gross. No wonder you keep all those popcorn buckets, man.
So, all right. Well, thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the game as much as we did. It's always nice when RSL gets 3 points. And follow us on all social medias, and we look forward to seeing you at games. And we'll be adding you to the number of RSL random fans that we interview at the game. So we'll see you then.